Right. This is Sabretooth first. Sabretooth is in chat. Let's just get his text on screen, read the description, then we'll hop in with him. Or her, obviously, no judgment. Let's go. So this is Widow Ashe Cree. So 2-1-30 SR, excellent. And we'll bring up the gold logo and we'll be off to the start after only 8 minutes of being online. It's not that bad. Please, can I get my VOD done tonight? Because I'm only free on the weekends. I'll simp harder. I'll do it. All right. You convinced me. Okay, we've got 3 to do, and then I'll get to yours later, okay? Maybe not straight away, but later. Okay. So, Sabretooth. I know I fed a few times in this match, but otherwise I felt like I wasn't making a difference no matter how many picks or enemies I pressured out of an angle. And they played Bastion on defense and we just couldn't answer it. That always sucks. I also take a really well flanked this match and I don't really feel like I got the value in time on it. Could also analyze this match to tell me if it was my fault or somebody else's fault. It's always your fault. You can always do more. Hello, Sabretooth.
Howdy.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, good. So felt a little bit powerless. Make it. I felt like I wasn't making a difference no matter how many picks or enemies I pressured out of an angle. So you feel a little bit powerless in this one.
Yeah, it's funny. 'Cause I was queued with both of the supports on my team.
Yeah. And therefore, boyfriend was being your boyfriend, I'm gonna assume. And actually
Pretty
just
much.
sticking to you, yeah.
Then, Brumo was doing something.
It's not a bad comp, to be honest. If you queue with 2 supports and get Mei, Ryan, Zarya, I wouldn't be sad about that.
I wasn't complaining about the comp. But...
Ace, that's a bit mean. You can't do much more as Mercy sometimes, but on Ashe, you can always just win the game by shooting the correct people. Hey, you actually got like 4.
You're not streaming this group.
Oh, sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Always forget the screen share. Okay. So why'd we pull ourselves back to the main angle already? You seemed a little bit worried about being spammed out, but if you got Mercy on you, that's kind of the whole point of the Mercy being there, right? Okay, now the angles become very strong because they've aggressed under you. Now this is when you want to be here, okay? So what I saw was you poke out here when they're out here, when you don't really have an advantage over them. Then when they get under you, you kind of walked back instead of using that advantage. So when the position became good, you kind of left it. Then you went over here and started fighting them when it was more or less even. And I'm going to guess that you either just end up in a 1v1 against Sapphire or end up being pushed out. Just double shot, fair enough. You hate to see it. Sorry, I missed a shot on your Mercy. Nice go. Our Moira's died, our Mei's died. It might just be that this was a little bit too slow. Oh, wrong button. I don't actually know what button I pressed there. That looks more like it. Okay. Just wasn't quite enough. And we just end up getting free shot the moment we coach gunned. Okay. So pull it back to here. You went straight back from when you were aggressing straight to here, so I'm not going to complain about you being here at all. So what do you think the mistake was in this duel right here? And it wasn't taking the duel, obviously. You got a Mercy pocket. She's at a disadvantage. What do you think went wrong? You there?
I have no idea.
I'll play this back. So we coach gun up. Maybe we knew she was there, maybe we didn't. I assume we knew she was there for now. Okay. So you have a Mercy Pocket. What does a Mercy Pocket really give you? Like, just in terms of raw numbers, what do they give you? What do they do to you?
Higher damage numbers.
Higher damage numbers, it gives you 55 healing per second, and it allows you to basically take duels at an advantage. Okay? It allows you to poke at duels softly when you otherwise would take a lot of spam damage and be healed back up to full over and over and over again, right? And it allows you to take hard duels, 1v1s, at a massive advantage. That's kind of what it allows you to stay in a soft angle for as long as possible, and then when the hard duels find you, then it allows you to take the duels with a shitload of resources, basically. That's what the Mercy Pocket gives you. So when you coach gun up here, first off, if you're taking the hard duel, make sure you're ready for it. You just didn't seem ready, but maybe you didn't know the Favoured was there when you coach gunned up. It happens. But second off, if you know there's a Favoured up here, how do we take this duel in a way that we can leave it and don't have to be fully committed to fighting it? Let's say exactly the same from down here. We're going to coach gun ourselves up into the air, all the way over here. Okay? Where are you going to stand to allow yourself to leave?
On the ledge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the ledge. The basic answer here, the thing that I saw, was you were just way too committed. You were just in this fight for a 50-50. If we lose hard. But if they lose, they also lose hard. When you could have been in the situation where, you know, we coach gun up, we stand on the corner here, we take one rocket from Farah, we just drop instantly. And we're probably safe from them. Okay? You got 55 healing per second. They've got literally 0. You can just go back and peek this 5-10 seconds. Alright? So, when you're taking these duels with a Mercy Pocket, you really have to be aware of either I'm going for this hard duel, or I'm going for this hard duel with an out, and I'm able to keep poking it in a really soft way. This Farah essentially has to suicide at you, is the answer. She's got no sustain whatsoever. Stuff's happening on main, we don't care about that. Just care about you for now.
That I definitely am not still proud of.
I'm sorry, I cut off half the text-to-speech. Hello, it's time for text-to-speech and a very cool sub-animation that I'm definitely still not proud of. Thank you very much, Ace. Always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you very much for the tier 1. Thank you. I had to turn up my my general volume halfway through that. If anything's really loud, please tell me. Okay, cool. I'd rather you just kind of... I guess. I'd rather you just command fights through Bob. Bob is just a free fight win if you use him first. Pretty much all of the time. Okay? So if you just take the initiative with him, quite a lot of the time you win fights. Otherwise, you have to do so much work with your gun. Even if you're 1 down, and you let's say they're 1 down, okay, you've got an advantage of 1. Your Moira still used her ult into that fight, right? And you'd rather you use yours and start cycling it more and more and faster, especially at this rank, than the Moira uses hers when you know even if she builds it again, she might not use it well. You can guarantee that your ult is used well every time. So why don't you just take control of the game and use your ult first and just like start cycling your resources. It'll help you be a little bit more in control of the games. And then, you know what? You can win the fights with Bob. And the rest of your team can win fights with the other 5 ultimates. And you can just command like half of the team fights with just 1 Q button if you use it at the right time. Because let's be honest, if they don't have Anna, Bob wins fights pretty much all the time if you use it first. Okay. So you see, like, aggressive grab, blizzard, loads of stuff happening. I get it, this is a really good position, but, like, if we could have found a way to leverage our ultimate to actually get it used and take initiative, then we're going to win more often, to be honest. I mean, it's weird and jank that your team wanted to fight all the way out here. Zarya grabbed first and then made through Blizzard, and it was like, neither of those things were good. And then we were kind of committed to fighting out here, so now people are kind of like suiciding into them. So I kind of like your decision to stay here, to be honest. I don't mind it at the very least. Okay, so a little bit late on Bob, I'm going to say. Even in context, this is a little bit late. So if I see them aggressing in after this ult combo is used, I would have bobbed like 2 seconds ago onto this corner to make it so either they lose or they disengage. The fact is May's dead, so you either use it a couple of seconds ago or you don't use it at all. It's kind of like one of these fights that is 50% of the way there to being lost already. You never want to use ults when you're behind because... Okay, so the way I think about ultimates is you have a certain amount of resources and there's a certain amount of random mess that's going to go on in a team fight. And what's going to happen is you two are level at the start of it in terms of total resources. And then through random movement, kind of like, it doesn't really matter. These might be plays, these might not be plays. People are going to move up and down. And then one team's going to spike. Okay, one team's going to get a lot of value. They're going to be, they're maybe going to get a pick. They're going to use an ultimate. Something like that's going to happen. And the other team's going to have to try and catch up. But catching up only gets you to about the same level as their team's got to, right? So if they get a pick and we use Bob into it, we've about leveled the playing field. But what we should be doing is looking for, use our stuff first, use Bob, and get a pick with Bob. So we're so far forward that they couldn't possibly catch up no matter what they use. So when you're using ults when you're behind, most of the time all you're doing is leveling the playing field, or just throwing ults into a mess, where what you want to do is take the initiative, find a kill, or find a way to win a team fight often. They're on 5 people, I don't know if they stay on that, but... Bob is such a good ultimate, Jesus Christ. He straight up killed Lucia. He's just a good guy. Okay. So you're on Ashe, Widow, and Cree, which is all relatively similar sidelines, I'd say, in terms of effective range. McCree's obviously the shortest, but Ashe and Widow, I think the thing that would probably help you the most is just thinking a little bit more about cover in the angles you're pulling, instead of thinking about just going in and getting kills or being in a good angle in the general sense. Because in the general sense, you seem to be most of the way there, okay? So micro positioning inside your angle might be the way to go for you. And the way you do that, and the way you actually get better at it fast, is either you get someone to yell at you whenever you're out of position in the angle, or you have to yell at yourself. And it's a little bit hard to do, because you don't get feedback when you're slightly mispositioned, unless you die to it, okay? And that happens very rarely, to be honest. So when you're mispositioned, what you need to be able to do is have some kind of mechanism to pull you back to the place you need to be. And somebody suggested like a metronome going off every like 15 seconds to remind you, like, whatever angle I'm in, do you know what, I'm just going to pull myself back to the nearest like possible bit of cover as close as I can, and then just have that as a constant reminder. Some people like to just like have a sticky note on the corner of their monitor saying like, check where you were when you died and stuff like that. But it's very important to be in the correct place within the place you're pulling, okay? So you have a macro positioning, as in where you're standing, and then you have a micro positioning, which is where in the location are you standing. So right here, when you're fighting this Ashe, a second ago, what I see there is I see you pulling very wide away from cover. So First off, this is a very good angle. This is a very good position. Okay? But if we see where you fight her, I think it was a second ago. What you're doing, this is an even fight. Okay? You haven't made this a massive advantage for yourself. What would make this a massive advantage for yourself is actively pulling yourself all the way back here and peeking here and jiggle peeking from this corner here. Okay? Right now, you have cover this way. She has cover to the left, okay? So you can pull herself back in this way and she has cover from you. But neither of you actually have a corner that you can peek around fast. And that's how you actually get an advantage. So I think just pulling yourself here would be so much more effective. I don't like, even though you do have cover, right? If you get shot once, you get a headshot, you can just pull yourself back in, you'll probably be fine. And that's more true the deeper the angle downwards onto the other person is. But you don't really have a place to peek from, especially with Ashe, where jiggle peeking is so strong, you can just shoot every single time you come out of cover. You really need to be looking for that, especially in duels. And I know these kind of things are so... They seem like they don't matter in the moment. That's the worst thing about them. It seems like, you know what? I'm just in a 1v1. I'm going to shoot her better than she shoots me, and everything will be fine. But if you look at high-level people, they do this constantly, and they are high-level because they do this. They're not just good at shooting. I think the biggest mistake people make in Overwatch is just assuming that they're good because they have good shooty skills. So if you want to shoot the main team but not shoot the Ashe, what angle would you stand on?
On that other angle, back behind.
Yeah, so we have a choice of basically this corner here to peek into here, and we have a choice of here, okay? The tighter you are to this corner, the less they can shoot you. And by the way, you can peek this Ashe whenever you want. You can ignore her for 3 seconds and re-peek her and get one shot, then back off. You can go in for a duel against her by the corner. You can jiggle peek her at will and then just back off, and she has to pay attention to you. But you don't have to pay attention to her. So that's a real big advantage you have in this duel. If you go here, there's no place you can peek the rest of their team and actually do stuff while you're fighting the Ashe. So that's another thing to think about. So maybe just going back through your games and just looking into not where you're standing in a location-based sense, but where you're standing is in like in the spot area. People always talk about the 2-second rule. I tend to think of it as if every single person on the enemy team was a Roadhog with his hook off cooldown, would you be dead? Could you get behind cover in the time it takes a Roadhog's hook to be fired, you've to react to it, and then it to get to you? That's depressing. Mercy's just ignoring you. Boyfriend is not being your boyfriend. Not as well as you'd like. Okay. Whoa, what are you dodging? Is it like you need to get this out of you? You dodge things.
I have it.
Yeah, if there's nothing to dodge, you don't dodge. You just chill out and hit the headshots on the frozen people in the grab. And it's just the rhythm you've got into, and you can actually get very good at like doing these rhythms. You can get very good at them. You can get it so that when you're doing this, you will be like 90% accurate. Like, you'll be just as fine, like, as when you're standing still, I mean. But it will take more time of you actually working at it. And it won't be, it won't have the highest, like, ceiling. Unnecessary dodging. It's always unnecessary dodging. They're running Mercy Lucio, what losers? They got back a 6th person, then dropped them again. I'm not sure what's happening.
Me neither.
Pretty good there, actually. You were jiggle peeking from behind cover. It wasn't perfect. What you need to do is pull yourself closer to this corner here and jiggle peek from here. But apart from that, you're doing pretty well. You just need to think about not only having the 1 bit of cover, but having the 2 bits of cover, so you actually have a corner to peek from, instead of just something to hop behind if you're in trouble. Because a really high level Ashe that's playing well around corners, there is nothing you can do. Like, literally nothing. You are just screwed. Like, you just die because there's no way to kill her. Because every time she takes damage, she walks away. She doesn't care about you. She goes somewhere else. She just does something else. People stand still to shoot in Valorant. It's absolutely wild. Yeah, you have to. Completely different game. I mean, there's nothing wrong with strafing, especially if it's in a pattern that you are okay with. But if there's nothing to dodge, it's just unnecessary. Ah. I noticed you have a little habit of mash strafing. What would be my mash strafing is you're not moving anywhere, you're just vibrating on the spot. So you'll be here, you're just vibrating. Your head's not moving. You're not actually dodging, really. If a hands are shooting at you, you're gonna get shot in both the left and the right positions. Make sure your strafing patterns are a little bit longer. At least like get a metronome for this, like 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, and have it in that rhythm. Any faster is kind of like just not moving enough to be able to dodge stuff or make them reposition their aim. Cool. Nice use of coach. And you got absolutely rolled by Bastion by any chance?
I wouldn't. I don't want to say rolled, but at the same time, it practically was a roll.
How do you kill a Bastion? Go on.
There's many ways to do it.
You don't stand in one
him.
spot where you can shoot you in a straight line. That's basically the answer.
He's off angled, pretty much.
Yeah, you find different ways to shoot him. And he gets uncomfortable and feels bad, and then he dies. No, close. This Zarya has a suicide wish. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I got on a full flank. Beautiful.
This is the wild flank that I was going on.
I'm fine with you doing this. It's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't burn hook shot here. What I do is I go for a few shots down here. I do something up here and then use hook shot to retreat to a different position. If you hook shot up here and you get poked out by 10 damage, you're going to be like spending 10 seconds doing nothing. So I would have aggressed on ground level.
My ultimate is ready.
Who's gonna shoot you?
No one.
Yeah, so just do whatever you want, right? Don't act like scared like there's 10 people hunting you when they can't even get you if they wanted to. Right, hand off the keyboard, okay? We're not touching the keyboard. We're gonna shoot people. Oh no, that Valkmus is gonna come for you, isn't she?
Oh.
No? Coward. Okay, they use beat.
X.
Beat tie, grav. You're getting close. Nice. Beautiful. There you go. There you go. You got value. You got value. It took a little bit of time. We're okay with that. You got value. You just need to hand off the hand off the keyboard when you're not actually using it. There's no reason to just be pressing the keys. I think you were throwing yourself off there, and that's the reason why you're having a little bit of trouble. And you got to realize that all of that time you're making them very uncomfortable to stand where they were standing. My teams did something. My team did something. They actually got the Reinhardt. Oh no, they rested the Reinhardt and both their healers are back. Oh, the entire spawn of their healers.
Yeah.
And your team did nothing.
It's the edge.
I think this is one of the situations where, you know what, you should have got those two and just maybe retreated back this way, got the health pack, and just waited to spawn camp them. Unless you're uncertain about your Lucio matchup. Because it can be quite scary.
I mean, gold Lucios aren't exactly scary, but flat Lucios for me is just they all come from Reddit.
Yeah, everyone ends up in plat playing Lucio because they're probably quite good at Lucio, but then they just turn off their brain and press the W button into the enemy team. They see a Widow and they see blood instantly, and then throw the match trying to kill her.
Yeah.
Hello, XXX90. Hello. Hexagons. Good evening. Hello, Bella. Good evening, guys. Any Redditing a Widow is never throwing. Cool. Yep. I'm like so glad that Bastion died. If he got beaten, you probably lose instantly. Mercy's so hard to kill. It's only 20 health per second, but it feels like 80. I'd just ignore her, to be honest, and go kill someone that's standing still. Mercy's just a little bit too much effort. And if I was playing McCree and probably would give up on the Mercy, you probably should give up on the Mercy too. Ah, where are we? How have we ended up here? Yeah, I think maybe just pull yourself to here and just stand here by the corner so you've always got an out. But you just kind of like... You got a little bit absent-minded. There was nothing really stopping you walking around here at the time, so you just walked around here. Right, the Junkrat being forced into this room is good enough for you. If you just had to shoot this angle, then pull yourself back round to here. We're fine with that. But what we're not fine with is risking our life to kill him, and that's kind of what you do. You just kind of I don't think you plan for this. I think you're just you were focusing on aiming and shooting the people, so your left hand started pressing buttons and you walked towards them. But yeah, the moment that Zarya turned up behind you. Lucio suicides into you. You can throw on Lucio by having heals early all game. Yeah, 100%. Just make sure you use AMP to find a win condition before you go and Reddit, and you're fine. Don't worry, guys. You can Reddit Lucio. It is a valid playstyle. You've got to do a little bit of the other stuff first. Honestly, first half was a really good hold, but you just got a little bit too aggressive, to be quite honest. The Widow flank was good, but you just... I don't know, you were just moving yourself about, making you aim a little bit too hard and that kind of stuff. I hate going on the Widow flanks because it means I actually have to hit shots, whereas if I'm on main, maybe I could just do the same sight line and shoot tanks, and at least I'm doing something kind of thing. I didn't like you pulling yourself out of the flank, but you did have a little bit of damage on you, so I can kind of see that. And then on the attack, the only real mistake I see is you just pushing yourself in too far, just being absent-minded, really. Aside from that, I don't see too many issues. And then obviously pull yourself very close to angles. Think about vertical cover as well as horizontal cover in terms of high ground. Your macro positioning or your general places you're standing are absolutely fine. But it's just the low or the high resolution stuff that you need to work on. All right.
Okay.
Cool. Anything else you need from me?
Not exactly. I just want more SR.
I just want more SR. Have you
I
tried
have lost. I have lost 300 SR in the last 3 weeks.
in the last 3 weeks? I can see that, judging by because the small scale stuff is the stuff that matters. Like this McCree flank where you went for the Junkrat, that is the kind of stuff that is going to lose SR from anyone. And what does a top 500 McCree player do if they're on this left flank round here? They either stand on this corner, or they stand within a hair's breadth of this and poke around the corner this way, and then roll out the moment they got value, right? They're very, very disciplined. And the thing is, you just don't have the left-hand discipline. You don't have the keyboard discipline of not walking forward into them. So I think that's why, because you'll do good, you'll have good value, but then occasionally you'll go walk somewhere stupid and you'll just die, right? And then you may as well not be on the team, right? You're actively feeding. So it's hard. And best things for you, either get look up on the internet, metronome, 15 seconds, just have a ping that goes off and tells you to reposition yourself back to a corner or back to someone that's smart. Or just talk to yourself every single time you die and be like, why did I die? Oh, Jesus Christ, why am I in the middle of nowhere? Why am I taking an even duel against an Ashe down there instead of a duel where I'm at an advantage, right? These DPS characters are all about setting up uneven duels and then taking them 1v1, basically. And that's what you got to be looking for. Okay? You're fighting way too many even battles, what I really mean. Alright?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I have no SR to donate to you for just now. Hopefully I can get some in the future.
Worry about it.
Maybe just get yourself a pocket that's willing to yell at you and bring yourself back to corners. It's a hard thing to find, especially if you're a little bit more of a boisterous person that doesn't like being yelled at, or your Mercy's less of a boisterous person that doesn't like yelling at you. But a Mercy that's willing to yell at you to stand in a smart place, like imagine an Ashe peeking down here when the enemy team's there instead of peeking there, right? That's the thing you need to learn, and you're not learning it just because there's no feedback. Because the only time you actually get feedback is when you die immediately here, and then you're just like, oh, I guess I lost my duel, instead of being like, I'll stand here. When I take one shot, I'll just wait, and then I get healed up. I re-peek every single time, and that's the bit that you're missing, by the looks of it. Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Great to talk to you. Hopefully, I've been useful in some way. I will see you around.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.